What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Aaron Nix. This is the Wrestle Plug YouTube channel, and this is WWE Raw. Not in 3 minutes, but in 5. This won't be a regular thing, but this was quite a stacked Raw. There was a lot to talk about, and I felt that I needed at least 5 minutes to try and get into this. So apologies if you're really pressed for time and you only have the 3 minutes that you normally have, but I will endeavour to try and get this wrapped up in a nice, neat 5 minutes. Let's get the counter on the screen. Let's get cracking. The biggest surprise from Money in the Bank was John Cena, and John Cena opened WWE Raw and basically came out and did what he's been doing for the last 15 years, which is the same boring shtick. I'm sorry to say so, but I'm afraid I thought this promo was tedious and boring and the usual shit. He calls out Roman Reigns, calls him a bitch, usual stuff, then talks about people overstaying their welcome, etc, etc, all the things that he is, and then accusing Roman Reigns of being stale, which is quite hilarious and ironic. And I know he spoke with irony himself, but it was still fucking stupid, and frankly, I must be the only person in the world who thought this was crap. 6-man tag team action. AJ Styles, No Moss, the tag team champions, teaming up with the king of drip, America's most wanted. By the way, WWE Euroshop, hurry the fuck up and give me my t-shirt so I can buy it. John Morrison, of course, tagging up with the tag team champions to take on the Viking Raiders and Riddle. And thanks to some distractions and nonsense on the outside, courtesy of some drip sticks, the faces pick up a big win, and that means that Viking Raiders have earned themselves another tag team title shot next week. Out of morbid curiosity, I actually bothered watching Elias versus Jackson Riker in the Symphony of Destruction match. They've had a few of these now. Basically, it's a hardcore match, but the only weapons are musical instruments. It was stupid. It was chaotic. It did have some fun moments, but overall, I could give 2 shits about these guys. Jackson Riker is not a star. He might have the body of a god, but he's got the charisma of a wet fart, and frankly, he's got all the promo skills of a walnut. Women's tag team action. The tag team champions Natalya and Tamina facing Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Non-title with Reginald at ringside. Reginald causes a distraction, and of course Shayna Baszler's got to do the job again because she's only one of the most legitimate and fantastic fighters, and ultimately this was the only time that I agree with this piss poor crowd who frankly fucking infuriated me all night with their "We Want Becky" chants, their ridiculous fucking "What" chants, which frankly I have not missed whatsoever. You're actually making me miss the fucking Thunderdome. Nonetheless, Reginald cost them the win, and Nia Jax finally headbutts him and leaves him at the altar, so to speak. Reginald is left behind, but not 1 minute removed from this nonsense, he becomes the 24/7 champion by rolling up Akira Tozawa, and he parkour flips his way out of the arena. Swings and roundabouts. Everyone's favourite Mexican child, Humberto Carrillo, gets another match against Sheamus, and summarily gets his ass kicked. Can we please fucking stop it?
Stop it. Get some help.
Bobby Lashley open challenge. Gonna be Goldberg, right? No, it's Keith fucking Lee. Keith Lee is back on Raw. This is awesome. They have somewhat of a decent match. However, Bobby Lashley overcomes Keith Lee. Keith Lee looked a little bit out of sorts, I have to say, in the ring. Not quite up to his usual standards, but ultimately, he hasn't been seen on TV since January, so we'll forgive him for that. A lot of rumours running around that he may possibly be getting released sooner rather than later, and I hope that's not the case, but ultimately Keith Lee is going to have a very good career wherever he goes. Bobby Lashley stands tall. Misdirection was the name of the game here, because Bobby Lashley standing tall after the match, and then we get the return of Goldberg. Here comes Gilbert himself, and he of course proclaims that Bobby Lashley is next. And to be fair, the crowd were pretty hot on it, and even though the internet for the most part shits on the fact that Goldberg is coming back, and we shit on it as well as a podcast, there's no denying he is a draw, he is an attraction, and he will bring in money. And SummerSlam is starting to look really stacked. You've got John Cena versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title, Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg for the WWE Championship. You're going to have a lot of great attractions in the undercard as well. Most likely you're going to have Edge and Seth Rollins. There's no denying that WWE knows how to put on a show, if nothing else. It's the modern day Maharaja's birthday. Everyone wish Gender Equality happy birthday for me, because he is the king. All hail the Maharaja. And how do we celebrate? By getting Shanky to sing happy birthday before he is quite literally violated in the most graphic manner by a steel chair wielded by none other than Drew McIntyre, who of course was cost his opportunity and Money in the Bank, courtesy of Jinder and his boys last night at the pay-per-view. Shanky takes, I am not joking you, about 35 chair shots.
Stop! He's already dead!
Ladies and gentlemen, the following exercise is how to make somebody incredibly excited and then ruin their life all within 2 minutes. Karrion Kross debuts on the main roster and he's facing Jeff Hardy, and he loses. This is a fucking home run, Vince McMahon, but you ruined it because you're a dilapidated, pathetic old cock waffle tosser. I honestly have lost what little respect I had left for you. This is a fucking joke. And in your main event, I assume Becky Lynch was going to interfere here. Charlotte Flair defends the Raw Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley again. Decent match, but was never going to really live up to what we saw last night at a 5-star classic at Money in the Bank. The match was cut short, of course, because Charlotte Flair couldn't handle the fact that Rhea Ripley was about to win and got herself intentionally disqualified. Surprise. But in order chaos, Nikki Ash cashes in her Money in the Bank. Nikki Ash becomes Nikki Cash-In, and she cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase to become the new Raw Women's Champion with ultimately the world's worst looking crossbody, if I'm being genuinely honest. But she jumps in the crowd. It's a lovely moment for her. I'm really happy for Nikki Cross. It's just a shame that it was done in this ridiculous veil of this terrible, almost a superhero gimmick. It's a fucking garbage gimmick. But obviously Vince McMahon loves it, and to be honest, I don't buy the fact that it's Nikki's idea. I think it's Vince McMahon's idea, and she's just going all in on it. But hey, it's giving her a push, so who are we to judge, I suppose? And Raw goes off the air with our new Raw Women's Champion. Gotta be honest, now that I look back at it, now that I think back to everything I watched, this actually wasn't that good a Raw. It was okay. It had plenty of surprises. It had a fair amount of excitement. Felt very much like the Raw after WrestleMania in a lot of ways, but ultimately the wrestling actually wasn't nearly as good as it normally is, and the storylines were still very, very wonky. And seeing Karrion Kross job out the way he did left a massive, massive bitter taste in my mouth. It really did. Am I a huge Karrion Kross mark? Absolutely. I love him. I think he could potentially be a main eventer at WrestleMania. Probably not now. This is an absolute joke. There's obviously opportunity for recompense and being able to rehabilitate him the right way, but this is a horrific start, and I don't trust WWE enough. I've got to say, AEW, for all the shit I give them, would have probably handled this guy a lot better, at least on a main roster. It's a shame because he has literally never lost in WWE, and then he loses on his debut. So now nobody gives a flying fuck, and you've lost all the mystique of him. And that, frankly, left a really big bitter taste in my mouth. I'm not a big fan of Becky Lynch, so when she does eventually come back, which I assume will probably be at SummerSlam, that's great for the casual fan. I recognise that she's a big star. I just personally think she's massively overrated. I don't care about Goldberg. I feel like Bobby Lashley has so many other incredible athletes he could face. And ultimately, we all want to see Lashley versus Lesnar. That's where the money's at. And although John Cena versus Roman Reigns is big money, the only reason he should be back here is to put over Roman Reigns, which I'm sure he will do. But again, I'm just not a huge fan of John Cena. So call me a Debbie Downer, but I thought this was a bit tedious. And frankly, after wrestling training and heat exhaustion and everything else that comes with that and the aches and the pains, kind of wish I hadn't wasted my time staying up to watch this. So yeah, misery aside, hopefully you've enjoyed this extra long rapid fire review of WWE Raw. Like I say, we'll try and get back to the 3-minute standard going forward, but I felt that we needed a little bit more time considering what we had to cover. I've been Aaron X, and I'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.